Good morning, guys. Good morning. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Good morning, guys. Good morning. All right, guys. Good morning. Hopefully, you guys all had a fantastic Wednesday evening, guys. We did get our GDP print this morning, came in line with the preliminary number, down 0.06. Relatively, I think not a huge deal. We do have yields up a little bit this morning after Loretta Mester spoke this morning, the Cleveland Fed president. So, like I said, guys, this morning, it's going to be an interesting day. We are pretty red across the board this morning, guys. We do have the S&P 500 down about 1% at last check, a little under 1% now. We are at that 367.14 level. This morning, there's going to be a couple things that I'm going to be watching. Number one, I'm going to be watching ARK here pretty closely, guys. This 39.36 level is big. As you can see, this was our prior support on the daily chart, guys, at this 39.40, 39.50 level. If we can hold this level on ARK, that would be a retest of prior support, prior resistance, which we had here, as you can see, at the top of these two daily candles, guys. This is what I'm going to be watching today, alongside the 10-year yield, which is up slightly. It's up about 7 basis points this morning, from 3.71 last night to 3.78 this morning at last check, I believe, guys. While that is a slight move up, it's going to be important to watch how that moves into the open. It is dropping a little bit as we speak. We're up 6 basis points now, at 3.77. So if we can see yields kind of settle back down into 3.7 range, I still think growth looks like a nice long opportunity today, guys. Rivian is probably one of the names of most peak interest to me. So I mentioned ARK here. This 39.41 level is going to be key. If we see a break below, I do like puts down to the 37 level and hold on that first hourly candle. However, we did see nice buying volume yesterday. So if we hold this 39.41 level, I do like the idea long for a possible move into 41, right? So I think there is some upside on the growth names. Remember, tomorrow is the big one. We have PCE data tomorrow. That is the Fed's preferred inflation gauge, and that is going to be really, really important. However, I think that since we saw PCE down month over month in August, I do think there's a decent chance we kind of see at least a run-up into PCE data, because if that comes in much lower than expected, that could be a really big positive catalyst. And since we are already trending down on the PCE data, I think that we could kind of see a run-up in some of these growth names, at least, because those are going to be the names that are affected the most, because the PCE data is going to have a more profound effect on yields, right? So this is going to be important to watch. Name that I'm going to be watching closest off of open is going to be Rivian. RIVN, guys. This just had a $65 price target upgrade from Truist Securities. Feels like that went somewhat unnoticed, but if we can get over the 35.30 area, I do think we can see a nice move up, possibly into 38 plus. So I'm going to be watching Rivian closely off of the open, guys. Definitely one of my favorite setups as we head into the open. If we can get over this 35, 37 range and hold, which we are currently in pre-market right now, we are trading at 35.45. 35.40 now. This is a very interesting setup to me off of the open. Probably nothing I will take tremendous size on, given the fact that we do have SPY under that 368.70 level. That is the key level to pay attention to, guys. 368.70 is huge on the S&P. If we get back over 368.70 on SPY, I do think we can test 370 again. And kind of move towards that larger scale resistance at 370, right? 370 obviously going to be a big resistance. Our high from yesterday was 372.30. But like I said, the big level to focus on off of the open for me is going to be 368.70. That's the big level to pay attention to, and the level I'm going to be watching the closest. If we reclaim 368.70, I do think we can see a push into 369.9, 370, and then possibly 372. However, if we see yields continue to rise and we see the S&P 500 break under 365.39 or 365.40, that is where I think we could see a kind of bigger push downside into 363.50 and 360.50, right? So those are the key levels I'm paying attention to. 365.39, is going to be a very important pivot, right? If you look, we've moved pretty smoothly between 363.40 and 365.50 area, right? And really it's that 365.29 zone. But like I said, 365, pretty big key level. And we've moved pretty cleanly between 363.49 and that level at 365, right? However, if we get below 363.50, that's where I think we can kind of see that waterfall move down back towards 360. That 360.30 area is going to be very important. Remember that prior low from June in that 360.90 zone. So that's going to be an area I am paying attention to at 365. I think that's going to be kind of our larger scale pivot area. Our 4 a.m. pre-market low is that 363.47. So I always try to mark that out, even though it's that 4 a.m. low. Always try to pay attention to that on the S&P 500. But again, remember, you can see illustrated by these larger scale wicks. You see like 1, 2, 3 wicks up to 368.70. There's a lot of selling pressure in that 368.70 level. So if we continue to see heavier selling pressure in 368.70, then we can definitely see that push down under 365. So that's going to be pretty much one of my main focuses off open. I actually might trade some S&P 500 contracts today just because it's traded relatively smooth lately. I think the levels are good right now. I don't feel like there's been some times the past couple weeks where I feel like the levels are a little bit more shaky. I think the levels are solid right now, right? 365.30, pretty big pivot. 363.50, a bigger pivot. And then 368.70, larger scale resistance and pivot upside. So, I think the levels are clean right now. Really over 370 is where I become more like broader term bullish. We were over 370 yesterday at close. However, this morning we are dipping down, but we'll have to see. Again, I think there is a chance that we do see this dip get eaten and a move into PCE data tomorrow that is towards the upside. I could be wrong, been wrong before, but that's going to be like one of the main kind of focus points for me. Again, my top watch off the open here in 4 minutes is going to be Rivian, RIVN. I'm going to go ahead and post this on Twitter, but this is definitely one of my top watches, $65 price target from Truist, and I think that this could see a nice move today, even if the S&P 500 is like relatively flat. I think that this can be, this has already been a tremendous relative strength name, has some nice tight consolidation on the daily, and I think 365.30 could really be a larger scale move to the upside. So again, nothing I'm going to take with huge size since I'll probably trade this first few minutes off the open, but I do like the setup with that price target upgrade from Truist. That's implying 100% upside, so I definitely like the setup here over that 35.30 level. So that's going to be a big level I'm paying attention to right there at 35.30, right? Our high of the day from yesterday was 35.25. So if we can hold over that high of the day from yesterday at 35.25, I think we have a pretty good shot at seeing maybe 37 or 38 this week. So that's going to be my main focus off the open here in about 3 minutes. I'm going to post that on Twitter for you guys, and I will see you guys on the Discord live trading. Very excited to continue to end the month strong with the team. I'll see you guys on Discord Live. Peace.